So I sent them back to their seats for the second half or second part,
Yeah.
and I stayed in the bar area until they were until their dad was like, "Hey, just come here right after the show's over because
Sure.
we got to take that escalator right there."
Sure.
So
Sure.
yeah,
Yeah.
the Jameson bar helped the headache, so it was nice.
Sure. I bet it did. I bet it did. Yeah, that's always a. I mean, you want to do those things for your kids, but at a certain point in time, some of those events are almost more trouble than they're worth at some point. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean we were literally in the cheapest seats. They were $60 a piece. I mean, a T-shirt was $50.
Yeah.
Hoodie was 75.
Yeah.
And they sold that thing out. So
Yeah.
I mean they were it's where the Blues play. I mean there's I don't know 20-something thousand seats there, 25,000 plus the floor. That's wild. So good
Yeah.
for them.
Well, and I always have a hard time at those things, especially when your kids are like that age. You buy them like that $50 T-shirt, and they're going to wear it for 3 months, and they're going to outgrow it, right?
Yep.
And so then
Yep.
it's kind of like, or that the Disney on Ice shirt is not something they're going to want in 2 years, and so they're
right.
never going to wear it again. So
Mm-hmm.
it's always mixed emotions with things like that, but.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, how was your weekend?
Oh, dude, it was kind of it was busy. We went to Bob's son at like a community theater thing that he was doing. So we went out there and had dinner and hung out with them last night. And today was family dinner.
Nice.
My wife's my father-in-law, I guess it was his birthday a little while back, so we were celebrating that. And yeah, we bought a new car this weekend, which that was completely off our radar. We got one of those random emails, and it was like the Subaru Share the Love event or whatever it was, and so they were running a bunch of specials, and we decided to give my wife's Crosstrek that she has now to my oldest daughter who's going away to college.
Okay.
We're going to sell her current car, and then we bought another Crosstrek. So
Nice.
yeah, we're kind of a Subaru family. People laugh at it, but up here in this area of the country, Subarus are like worth their weight in gold, man.
All-wheel drive.
Oh, it's yeah. So Subaru and Audi are the two companies that like they essentially invented the all-time all-wheel drive. Subaru did, and then Audi was a close second. And so their transmission, like it's the Boxer engine, right? So Subaru developed the engine with Porsche, and their engines are indestructible. Their transmissions are indestructible. The cars run forever.
Yeah.
So they're really good. I think it's I'm gonna shamelessly say I think it's our fifth. I think this is either our fifth or sixth Subaru we've owned. So
Oh wow.
yeah,
You definitely are a Subaru family.
yeah, we actually leased Outbacks for a while when we needed more room and more room for car seats and things like that. So we leased Outbacks for a period of time, and then we downgraded to the Crosstrek, which is a perfect size in my opinion.
Nice.
So still has the same it's funny because they have 18-inch wheels like a lot of pickup trucks do, and the same like 8.5 inches of ground clearance. So
I didn't know that.
Yeah, that you can drive over anything with these things. They're awesome. I really like them a lot. Like I said, people are going to maybe make fun of me for it because they're whatever. You can say what you want about it, but I love them. I think they're great cars. So
It's always fun to have a new car.
yeah. And the rest of it is, dude, I'm going to tell you something right now. I am suffering from some serious FOMO right now. Welcome to Moto State Podcast, where we talk about motorcycles, life, and everything in between.
Yeah, I mean, my social media feed is just inundated with people at Sturgis, and I don't like it. I don't like it at all.
Yeah, dude. I mean that is. I mean, I've gone 2 years in a row, and this is the first year. And lots of people probably know my story on that, but I've gone 2 years in a row to Sturgis, and now I'm suffering this FOMO of not being there. And this being the 85th and just seeing like all of the things out there. And I get it, right? People are, you see all of the fun and the great and the whatever about it, but you know, but I think it's definitely that season, and Sturgis is a big one, and the 85th is from what I understand, the size of this rally is the biggest since the 75th, because the 80th,
Really?
yeah, the 80th was right during COVID. So
Yeah, that makes sense.
so this one is a monster, from my understanding. So, and it's funny too, because it's crazy how busy opening weekend is at Sturgis, right? I mean, that there's so many things going on opening events. So people arrive Friday and or Thursday and Friday, and then it's like Friday's the kickoff, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday are your busiest days of the rally, right? Wednesday,
Sure.
Thursday, there's kind of a bit of a lull, and then you get into the Friday, Saturday, and then Sunday it's over with, right? So your middle of your week, there's a lull. So usually the weekends are the big times. And the one thing Sturgis has done a really good job of the last few years is that they used to have all of their big concerts jam-packed in the same time, and they spread them out now.
Nice.
So they make it so that if you want to go see, three of your favorite artists, you're not going to see them in the same night anymore. They move them to different nights so that they keep the crowd, right?
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, that's I know a few people that went. Like I said, social media is covered with those posts, and man, I wish I was there. I wish I could have pulled it off this year, but it wasn't in the cards to begin with, and then with the job change and everything else, and my parents' health and taking a lot of time off this year, it wasn't going to happen either way.
Yeah,
so.
we definitely we should make plans to attend Sturgis together at some point as
That'd be great.
As the podcast, because I think it would be great. I think we have potentially we could have some opportunity, especially we know we're not going this year, maybe next year, and we both had job changes too, right? So I think that also makes it a little bit more difficult. But I think there's potential for us to have some opportunity to do some things, which I think would be really cool.
Yeah, that'd be great. I've never been, so I guess it's a bucket list item for me, but it's something that I wouldn't just do once. I want to go more than once. That's for sure.
Sure. Well, okay. So I guess that leads to a good topic to talk about, right? Let's talk about events and rallies and shows. Like, what do we think? What do we want to go to? What have you gone to? What are your favorites? That kind of stuff. So let me ask you this, because we started on Sturgis. We're already talking about it.
Yeah.
So you're saying it's a bucket list, but you say you want to go more than once. What is it about Sturgis that makes you say that you already know you want to go more than once?
So I think for me, a common theme I've heard from people is that so much going on. So many things to see.
Yep.
I don't know that I could squeeze all that in the first time.
Impossible.
Right. So I think it's going to, I envision that it's going to take me 2 or 3 visits to Sturgis.
Sure.
To knock off all the must-dos, the to-do list.
Sure. So I would argue a couple things, not against what you're saying at all. But I learned a couple things. So my Sturgis adventure started with me essentially talking shit about the rally and somebody calling me out, and the person that called me out happened to be the owner of one of the owners, I should say, or the owner's husband of the Whitewood Inn, or the Iron Horse Inn in Whitewood, I should say, not the Whitewood Inn, Iron Horse Inn in Whitewood. I have to get that right. And they're friends of mine now. But Greg called me out and said, he like drunk texted me in the middle of the, like at 11:30, 12 o'clock at night, and said, hey, you kind of talked a lot of shit about Sturgis for somebody who's never been there. Why don't you come out and check it out?
Sure.
And so my buddies and I made a trip out there just to check out the area. And so I would say a couple things. Part of the reason why that event is so popular is the name. It's been around forever. It's one of the oldest events that exists in the country. But the reason why I see it as being so popular is that it is so spread out over such a large area of that spot, is that there might be 800,000 motorcycles out there right now, but it's not going to feel like that necessarily until you go somewhere where a bunch of them are.
Gotcha.
So, and then the other thing I would say is that there's a few like destinations in the country that are definitely destination ride spots, right? The Black Hills of South Dakota, the Badlands of South Dakota, these are destination ride spots. I would argue with anybody that if you want to ride all of these really amazing rides, you should go out there outside of Sturgis. And the reason,
like, more to get the full experience,
to get the experience of the rides, because they can be so overcrowded.
Sure.
That it actually takes away from the actual riding. Like, you'll hear some of the experienced Sturgis people say, you want to ride Spearfish Canyon during Sturgis, you need to go early in the morning or in the evening, because in the middle of the day it's just jam packed with people and you don't get to experience Spearfish Canyon. You want to ride Van Auker Canyon, which is, essentially right outside of Sturgis. It's a beautiful canyon, one of my favorite rides out there. I wouldn't want to do it during the middle of the day because there's going to be so many bikes out there, people with varying skill levels.
Sure.
And you kind of, I would say you don't get to ride your ride as much when there's so much traffic on those roads. You know what I mean? Needles Canyon. Needles is very technical. There's a couple spots on there. I mean, there's a hairpin that turns back on each other. It's at about a 40-degree grade going downhill that way, and it turns completely back on each other. Like the posted speed limit, I think, is 5 miles an hour.
Jeez.
And it turns completely back on itself, right? If you go on Iron Mountain Road, there's 3 pigtail bridges that turn 3 times, and you're either going uphill or downhill. Well, can you imagine being on a pigtail bridge going uphill and traffic stops because there's too much traffic on it?
Yeah, that wouldn't be fun for
right.
anybody.
So I that's my take on it. I'm not disparaging Sturgis, and I'm not disparaging riding there during the event. Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying the roads up there and the riding is so beautiful that to take it in outside of Sturgis, I have enjoyed it so much more. So much more. Because, like, in Sturgis itself, just think about it like this. The event of Sturgis, the town of Sturgis itself, I think, is like 6,000 people. Okay?
Right.
Now, imagine taking a town of 6,000 people and just putting 100,000 bikers in it. Imagine 400,000 or 500,000 bikers, right?
Yeah.
Well, here's the deal. There's Sturgis, there's Deadwood, there is Hill City, there's Custer, right? Well, Custer, just as an example, is almost 90 minutes from Sturgis.
Oh, really? Okay.
And there's still events there. You know what I mean? There's events in Deadwood, which is probably 45 minutes away. So Sturgis is the rally of Sturgis is so spread out that that it's easy for the bikers to be out there. And I mean, there's stuff that goes all the way out into Wyoming.
Okay.
So the Stonehouse is in Wyoming. It's an amazing sight to see. And you have to go during the rally, otherwise it's not open. If you go outside of the rally, you can go check it out, but it's closed.
Got it.
But it's essentially a stone house out in the middle of a field that they've turned into a giant bar party venue during Sturgis, but outside of it, it's closed.
Got it.
So these are all things that you want to take in when you're out there, but that they're closed outside of the rally. And it's funny because when the locals call it the rally time, but everybody that goes to it calls it Sturgis, right? Well, there's all these other towns that has events and everything going on that aren't in Sturgis.
Sure.
So that's why the
that makes
locals and
sense.
everybody that are out there call it the rally, because the rally actually encompasses the entire surrounding areas, right?
Yeah, I think what you're saying is kind of the same thing as if people go to the Dragon. Well, if you want to go in the middle of the summer, everybody and their mom's there. And it's not going to be just in that case, it's not going to just be motorcycles. So if you're going to do that, then you're probably going to do it early in the morning, late in the evening. Same thing. Just like any kind of destination spot, right? You need to, if you want the full experience, you got to think about when the best time is to go. Because if it's when everyone else is going, you're not going to get the full experience.
Yep. And I would say the other thing too is that they've made it. The event is very expensive now. It's not like it used to be. Yeah, you can camp there, but the very primitive places are charging, I think they're like up to 30 to 40 a night now for the primitive places. The places that have showers, I think, are right around 65, something like that, to camp. The ones that have showers and, whatever. So, and that's really not too bad, right? But for $65 a night to sleep on the ground, I mean, and then food is very expensive. I found that the alcohol is probably what you'd experience in a larger city. Like, okay. I don't think it's so out of bounds. It's way more expensive than you'd normally pay anywhere you go around our neck of the woods, okay. Right? Because we're just not overcharging for alcohol in our neck of the woods yet. But during the rally time, it's probably 40% markup minimum on everything.
Sure.
So like your hotel rooms. But the other thing the Black Hills does is that during their entire summer season, all of their hotels go up in price.
Oh, well, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Supply, demand, right?
Yep,
that's just part of it.
Yep.
That's what I hear people I've seen videos on Instagram, Facebook, people riding to Sturgis this past week and, passing someone, in their toy hauler or their camper with a trailer on the back and motorcycles. Like, why don't you ride it? Well, you know what? They're saving a shit ton of money. They got their own camper. They can go to the grocery store and get food. Hey, I don't want to sleep on the ground for $65 a night or whatever it is, right? I mean, I don't. Who says they're not capable of riding? They want to be there for a week or however long, a long weekend. But they got the setup to do that. I'm kind of jealous of that in some ways.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I think the thing about the toy hauler situation that I like is that it allows you to have an opportunity to get away from all of the stuff. You know what I mean? You can go into your toy hauler. Yeah. You can close your door. You have your own space. And inevitably, the other thing that you're going to run into in the Black Hills this time of year is that I don't know if there's ever a 10-day period of time during the summer in that area of the country, in the Black Hills, when it doesn't rain. It builds. There's a lot of weather that builds there, and so. If you're going to go to Sturgis, you better bring rain gear and you better keep it in your bike the whole time because you're going to get wet at some point. That's just the nature of riding out there.
Yeah, I mean, Friday night they had a hailstorm, so I mean it's it's inevitable.
Right. I mean, and when we were there last year during our event that we were sponsoring up there, there was a hailstorm at Rushmore, and it wasn't even raining where we were.
Oh, wow.
So because everything is so spread out, you have that too, where you might be in 85-degree weather in one spot, and it might be 60 and raining, at another venue somewhere else. So so that happens too. But I agree. I think your assessment of that is pretty good. Of all the things that a person would want to see, it's hard to experience it all outside of. Like inside the rally, it would be hard. You know what I mean?
Sure.
I'm just going to use a FXR show as an example. You'd probably want to go to that, right?
Yeah.
Well, there's also things going on at the Thunderdome. There's things going on. There's things everywhere. I also think that the benefit of having somebody who has been there before helps a lot.
Yeah.
And knowing the type of rally that you want to have also makes a difference too, because everybody experiences the rally differently. And while there's a lot of partying and a lot of that stuff going on, South Dakota don't fuck around. So they write a lot of tickets. They arrest a lot of people during that time because they're not trying to have people drinking and driving. Like, I'll give you a perfect example. In Sturgis proper, the city, you can drink walking down the street.
Sure.
As long as you've purchased your rally cup and that's what you're drinking out of. You have a can of beer, it's a $185 fine, or they'll put you in jail.
Jesus.
Because none of the venues will give you a can of beer that you can walk down the street. You purchase a rally cup, your beer goes in a rally cup. That's how it works.
Okay.
So those kind of things are things you have to know. And if you've purchased a rally cup from a previous rally, you can bring it into this rally. That's cool too. Yeah.
That's cool.
But you cannot be walking around with a can of beer. So, but again, and there's,
so like the helmet with the 2 beers and the straws, you just can't do that, huh?
If they were rally cups, I think if they were rally cups,
there you go.
Then you're good to go. Yep. But
right.
The other thing is that, you have to have eye protection. So if there's not a helmet law, but you have to have eye protection. So sunglasses during the day or clear glasses at night. Sure. I think those are pretty stringent. I'd heard for a while there was a 2-foot rule for stopping, like you had to put both feet on the ground. I don't think that that's true, but a full stop is true. Okay. The other thing is if you're at an intersection and they want the traffic to move. So if I was at the front of the intersection and there's an open spot next to me, you don't park in the middle of the lane. You choose a side because somebody will pull up next to you. Got it. Even if you're not riding with them. Sure. You fill the gaps. Does that make sense? Oh, yeah. To keep the traffic moving. Yeah. So just some rules that you have to know and understand like that make it a little bit different as far as that goes. But you learn those things after being there. I've
seen some videos too this weekend where I guess folks were parking on the street. I assume this was in Sturgis and not another city around there, but they were parked on the yellow line and they had a tow truck up there with the boom, and they wrap the straps around it, pick that thing up, tow it off, and that's however much to get it out of Hawk. But yeah, they seem to be pretty strict on that as well.
Yep. And it's it's best to park your bike where all the other bikes are. Don't try to think, I'll just park it around the corner over here because there's not a lot of bikes there. That's how you get your bike stolen. Oh, really? Yeah. So theft is a prominent. I wouldn't say it's prominent. I would say that it's prominent enough that it's been reported. So there's been a couple social media figures who've had their bikes stolen up there. Okay. And basically what they'll do is they'll pull up like in a full-size plumber van, and 5 people will jump out, pick the bike up, throw it in the back of the van, and drive away. Jesus, I can't imagine. So they don't, and it's not like they're not taking the bike to sell the bike. They're going to strip it down, sell all the parts, and there's going to be nothing left of it. You know what I mean? Yep. So. Yeah. So I mean that's the shit of it, right? Sure. Is that the bike is going to be gone, but so you gotta be smart about it, and that's like the place that we've stayed the last couple of years. The really cool thing that I really love about this place is that besides the fact that they have an on-site bar that does not charge downtown Sturgis prices, so they don't raise the price of their drinks. Nice. What's really cool about it though is that every night starting at 7:00, I think it's 7:00, and I could be wrong on the timing, so forgive me, Greg and Andy, if I got the time wrong. But maybe it's 4:00. I don't remember, but anyway, they run a bus every 30 minutes. Oh, okay. Until like 1:30 or 2:00 in the morning. I think the last one comes back from downtown about 1:30. Oh, nice. And so you can leave your bike at the motel and go to downtown Sturgis without having your bike there. Nice. And without having to drive. Then you just go and catch the bus and go back to Whitewood. Yeah. That's awesome. How far is Whitewood from Sturgis? 7 miles. Oh, that's great. And you buy a wristband for the time that you're there. So they sell a wristband that gets you on and off the bus. So, yeah, it's a really good situation if you do it that way. I really like how they have it set up like that, that kind of scenario. So,
Well, Greg and Andy are good people, and I'm sure I have not had the opportunity yet to visit their establishment, but look forward to getting up there and staying there and seeing them. I'm sure, knowing them, the little bit I do know, I'm sure they do a great job running that place.
Yeah, and they've made a bunch of improvements. So that they actually this last year, they added places where you can park fifth wheels and toy haulers and that kind of stuff.
Nice.
So you can hook up to electricity and water, and you can bring your own setup there and have it on that property there. So because they have some room up there. So and if you're the kind of person that trailers, they have plenty of places to park your truck and trailer and that kind of stuff. So
That's awesome.
they really have a good setup up there. And then obviously everybody's probably seen the pictures I've posted with the way that the motel is shaped so that it protects your bike from storms and that kind of stuff. So it's a really good scenario, but shameless plug for them anyway. But
No,
so
they're good people.
give me a rundown. Give me a list of events you've been to.
Pretty short list. So I've been to Mama Tried twice. I went to the 120th homecoming a couple years ago. I know it's a smaller show, but here in St. Louis we have Cycle Showcase, which we typically get some decent bikes and no names displaying their bikes in. I've been to that numerous times, and I've even before I was riding, I actually went to just for call it even a half a day to the Smoky Mountain bike show there in Maryville, and they have in the beginning of October. Went to a little bit of that, but that's it. That's it. So for me, it's Mama Tried's definitely been my favorite, and we've talked about it some. Love that show, and it's a great way to kick off the riding season. I don't know that I have any desire to go to Daytona. And just something about it doesn't seem appealing to me.
Sure.
Obviously, Sturgis. I really want to get to Born Free, Texas, and that's going to be on the list for next year for sure. I was going to try to do that this year as well, but just can't pull it off. But that's definitely on the to-do list for next year.
Sure. And Born Free Texas, I think they really are billing that as that's different than Born Free California, because this is kind of a set your shit up and camp there, right? Stay there for 2 days, 3 days.
Yeah, you don't
leave.
leave.
It is.
Yeah, you don't leave.
So,
and that's where the FXR tour, they ride into it,
sure,
and have the FXR tour show there and announce the winners on that, which is always really cool. And ideally next year I'll be able to, if they're taking off from somewhere not too far from here, ride in with them into Dallas and then on into Born Free on that Friday would be my ideal scenario for that show.
Sure. That's pretty cool. So have you been to was it TMNR, the Tennessee Music Motorcycle Revival?
No, that was also on the bucket list, or not. It was on the schedule for this year, and was unable to go. Kristen lives about an hour from Loretta Lynn's ranch.
Oh wow!
So we were just going to run down there for the day.
Sure.
It just didn't work out, but I'd really like to go to that one for sure. That looks like just a hell of a good time with the hill climbs, and they've always got some great live music, and at least the last few years I've pulled in some names that I regularly listen to. And for me, it seems like there's a lot of people from the St. Louis area, a lot of people obviously that I know in Tennessee go to it, so it'd be fun to go down knowing that I'm going to know a fair amount of people there, which is always nice.
Right. Well, I'm actually wearing an event shirt right now. So this is the Route 66 Hogs and Frogs Festival. Ooh. That's in Waynesville, Missouri. We went to the first annual event, and I would say that it's a much smaller style, very, very Midwest kind of thing. There's a small, what I would call local bike show, because it's really like local builders in the Missouri area. It's caters to, so anybody that doesn't know, that area of Missouri has a very large military presence. So Fort Linnerwood, I think is how you pronounce it, Linner, Linnerwood is down there, where we do train a lot of our soldiers there. In that area of the country, so there's a pretty large military presence in there. And then so I know there's a veterans MC down there. There's a few things that are involved that kind of support that event. And then they do cook-offs, and when we were there, they did a frog leg cook-off contest and a few different things. Their very first year, actually, their frog leg cook-off contest had caught the attention of the Food Network. And so they had some Food Network people there the first year. And then they do they name like a pinup. They have like a pinup girl contest kind of, and they had like a Mrs. Hogs and Frogs, or I don't remember what it's called. The people that are involved in the event are gonna, if they listen to this, they're gonna hear it and chew me out. But it was a good.
As much as you've said about that event a few years ago in Rubadick Park and all that, I don't think they're going to yell at you for that part.
Yeah, maybe not for sure. Yeah, but yeah, I think that was funny because we dubbed the park the Rubadick Park, and I think it's called Robadoo. I think it's like kind of as a French pronunciation, but yeah, it's a cool area. There's lots of really kind of interesting riding down there. If you haven't been, that area, Missouri, is nice riding. But I fair warning. Actually, when they hold this event, I believe it's usually like in the first week of October. It's when we were down there, and at that point in time of the year, it was beautiful. You go down there in July or August, and it's hot as Satan's asshole down there. Yep. I mean, it is out of control hot.
Yeah, I forgot.
And so humid.
I forgot about that show. That's where we met. But yeah. There is some great riding down there. So actually, it's Fort Leonard Wood, like the name Leonard. So
Leonard. Okay.
Yep, Leonard Wood. But you're in the Ozarks there. So southern Missouri, northern Arkansas, some beautiful riding through there. You can't go wrong. And it's something I thought people were they were full of shit when I moved here. Like, oh yeah, we got beautiful. It's like the Smokies, just smaller. And I was like, no, right. We're in the Midwest. It's all flat, but not there, not at all. It's really nice.
Yeah, it is. It's a nice area, and we really enjoyed it when we were down there. But yeah, I would say there's probably thousands. There's probably literally thousands of smaller events like that across the country, right?
Yeah,
I know,
absolutely.
I think like in Texas and California, they have just about every weekend you could find an event somewhere about something that's going on, right? And I think now you've got some big ones, right? You've got Sturgis, Daytona. I think that TMMR, Tennessee Music Motorcycle Revival, TMMR.
You got it.
That's a big one now, right?
Yep.
Born Free California, which is now has also Born Free Texas. Those are really well renowned shows, and then there's like the One Moto show. That one is very popular. Is that one in Portland?
Yeah. It's in Portland.
Yeah, so you have the One Moto in Portland. There's another one in Cleveland. What was that? What's that one called?
Fuel Cleveland.
Oh, Fuel Cleveland. So that's another.
They didn't have this year. Hopefully they'll have it again next year.
Right.
Well, you got Smoky Mountain Bike Week, FXR Jam on the Laconia. Obviously a big one.
Yep. Yeah. And what's the other one that's down in the Ozarks?
There's Ozarks Bike Week, which is at the Lake of the Ozarks.
Yeah, Lake of the Ozarks Bike Week.
So if you ever watched the show Ozark,
yep.
That's where that's depicted. Yep.
Yep. So so I mean, there's a number of those. So go over your list one more time again.
So Mama Tried.
Yep.
Homecoming.
Yep.
Smoky Mountain Bike Week. Cycle Showcase here in St. Louis.
Okay.
And then Hogs and Frogs, I forgot to mention.
Yeah. Okay.
And that. So that's it. Pretty short list.
Yeah.
But it means I've got a lot more places to check off the list.
So far of the places that you've gone to, what was your favorite?
I think Mama Tried's been my favorite.
Sure.
And the Homecoming being a close second, but two very different. One's a bike show, one's a bike rally.
Okay.
So in this case, and I'm not saying that all rallies are different than all shows.
Yep.
But I will say that those two are very different shows and rallies, events, so to say. I mean, obviously it's February in Milwaukee. for Mama Tried, you ain't riding shit. You
No.
know, you're riding a heating pad to stay warm. That's about it. But like I said, the bikes there are amazing. Just a lot of people in the industry are there, and beautiful bikes. You're obviously in the Mecca. You're in Milwaukee, and for me, it gets me excited about riding season because I know I'm hopefully 4 to 6 weeks away from getting some colder rides in. Hopefully,
Yeah.
So I really enjoy that. But the homecoming for me, so when I did homecoming in 23, I'd never been to Milwaukee. So for me, it was bike night at the headquarters. It was going through the museum, and doing everything. And first, like really big rally that I rode to. So it was a lot of first. I popped a lot of cherries on that trip, and it was great. And Milwaukee, or Wisconsin, and because we stayed about an hour west or so of Milwaukee, and kind of out in the middle of nowhere, and it was beautiful riding through there. I mean, I never thought I'd be dodging deer and be bundled up cold in July, but I certainly was. It was it was a little chilly, but it was really nice. It was a really cool experience.
Yeah, it's I think that the homecoming event has really gotten to be, it used to be every 5 years, and now they're doing it every year.
Yeah.
And so, because I just think that they've seen the value in running that event every year, which is nice. I would agree. Let me see. My list of events would be I've been to Sturgis a couple times. I've been to Hogs and Frogs, obviously. Mama Tried has been one of the things. Mama Tried was one of the first ones that I went to. Those are really, other than local events, those
Sure.
are probably the biggest ones I've been to. My friend went to Born Free, Texas, and he had a ton of fun down there.
Yeah.
And so I would say that my favorite event, and I think I've said it a million times, is Mama Tried. For us, February is really winter. I mean, and it's not. It's here. February is still pretty much the dead of winter here.
Sure.
So it really gets you around motorcycle people. What I like about it is that they hold it in an event that puts you in the same place as all the industry people that are at the event. They're right there, you're rubbing shoulders with all the same people. They're in the crowd just like you're in the crowd. So you have this great opportunity to be right there, meeting people, and kind of seeing the bikes are all very cool, right? What I like about how they curate that event is not every bike is a show, like 100% show bike. They have all different classes, all different kinds of motorcycles. They have motorcycles that people have ridden across the country a million times. They have motorcycles that people have built. They have motorcycles that have never seen the road, right?
Right.
And so they have a little bit of everything, which I really thoroughly enjoy. They have names that you're going to recognize and people that you've never heard of and will never hear from again.
Yeah.
Which I really, really love. The people that curate it are really great. The other thing I like about it is the races on Friday night. I've never been. I'm not a race fan really of any kind, but those races are a lot of fun.
They really are.
It's
They're
really
a blast.
It's just a lot of fun. And for those of you that have never been, Milwaukee is a real blue collar. It's a big city, but it has a small city feel to it.
Yep.
It's a real blue collar city. I always I would, the first time I went there, I'm like, man, this place is just full of my kind of people. It's just real blue collar. It's real.
Oh yeah.
And like you said too, you go there for Mama Tried, and you go to the actual show, you go to the museum, you go to the races on Friday night. You do the thing, right? You do the whole kind of Harley thing, and it's fun.
Yep.
And if you're a Hog member, you don't pay to get into the museum.
Right. Yeah, you don't pay. Yeah, that was for me. What a cool experience walking through that museum and just being surrounded by so much history there and learned so much.
When you went through When you went through, did they have that? Did they have that Harley that went through the tsunami?
No.
So they had a Harley that went through a tsunami that hit Japan that washed up like on the shores of the UK, or no, washed up on the shores of Australia, I think.
Holy shit!
And they have that bike in the museum now. I mean, they have all kinds of shit there. I mean, it's really, you see the whole history of how the war saved Harley Davidson, right? All those war bikes. I mean, and I interrupted you. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I just like I said, just learning so much of the history of Harley. I thought I knew a fair amount, but I did not. I learned so much more. And was thankful when Kristen walked through that with me. She's not a bike rider, enjoys riding with me, but she was. I mean, I had to peel her away. I was like, "Hey, we quit reading. We got to get through this, or we'll be here for 8 hours, right?" But it was great. We had a blast, and I will gladly go to Milwaukee anytime for some more riding. And I'd like to ride up through north central, northwest Wisconsin and get up through there too. I haven't spent any time up there ever, let alone on a bike. So
southeast Wisconsin, where by like the La Crosse area where S&S is located, it's beautiful down there too. I mean,
I'm sure
Wisconsin's a little bit of a hidden gem too. But when you guys went through the museum, was Ewan McGregor's bike there from the long way up or long way down?
I don't remember seeing that. No.
Okay. It was there when we went there, which I thought was really cool because you could see all the GoPro mounts and everything still on his bike.
Oh, nice.
Nice. Yeah, and I mean, it was just like they pulled it right off the set and just dropped it right in the museum. I mean, it was really, I was all dirty, and you know what I mean. So it was really cool. I thought it was just a cool experience. The other cool thing that they do at the Harley Museum is they rotate exhibits.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So you go from year to year, and you're going to see different shit there because they rotate stuff in and out because they have that other area that you can go to where you can take that elevator, and then you just see it's like a whole fenced off area. That's where all the exhibit bikes are.
Yep.
And so they rotate them in and out. So
when I was there, what was it? I think I guess I only went to the museum once, so I guess it was homecoming. They had a Mama Tried exhibit up, I guess probably left over from February. And so they had, like, what for me was cool, they had one of Chopper's that Bare Knuckle Paul had built, and he's, just outside St. Louis here about an hour. So really cool to see someone local with a bike at the museum. That's pretty awesome. So, just a cool experience. So let me ask you this. Mama Tried's your favorite. If you were to create your own bike show, bike rally, combination of both.
Oh, wow.
What would that look like? At a high level, what would that look like?
Yeah, that's really interesting, and I guess it would depend on the first thing was what time of year would I be running it? So I like Mama Tried for the reason that it's in the middle of winter and it makes us feel like kind of like you said that riding's right around the corner. It makes me excited about doing bike shit again. Because our winters here are long and you're just not doing bike shit, right? I really like how that venue is curated. That place that they have it at, the Rave, is such a unique experience because you can go up to the top of the bowl and you can look down. The bikes are on platforms, but you're right there in the midst of them. They're not roped off. Right. You don't feel like. Have you ever been to those like bike shows where everything is like kind of roped off, and you kind of feel like those bikes are that's like they're too good for you. You know what I mean? Like,
I lose connection.
Yeah.
I can't touch it. I'm not sure how I'm gonna sit on it.
Yep.
But if I can get like my nose right up next to it, look at something, I want to do that.
Yeah. And Mama Tried really provides that like deep connection to the bikes and to like I said, you're right there with the industry people. I mean, if you want to talk to somebody from Simpson's going to be at the Simpson booth. Yeah. You know what I mean? Where when you go to some of the larger rallies, like a Sturgis, for instance, they have so many other locations that you might not meet the people that you want to meet. So I think I like that, the smaller, intimate ones. If I was going to do my own, I definitely would want a destination place, some place where you could ride.
Sure.
That has a large appeal to me. Now, having done my own event for in the past, having a place that people wanted to go was very important.
Sure.
Making sure everybody understood that, make the ride as much about the trip as the destination.
Okay. Sure.
Because I wanted people to, like, oh, they show up and they're like, well, now what? You know what I mean? Well,
Sure.
Did you just jump on the interstate and burn your ass all the way here, or did you make a ride? Did you stop and smell the roses? Right? Did you see some things that you wanted to see along the way? I'm not a huge fan. I like a non-competitive, non-trophy bike show.
Okay.
And the reason why is because I think that bike shows are subjective to the judges that are judging the show.
Sure.
Right? You and I could look at the same bike and have an entirely different feeling about the bike. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Like, I'm going to use a big wheel bagger, for instance, because I think they're the stupidest fucking thing ever.
Sure.
Aesthetically, they're very cool kind of looking bikes. You know what I mean? They're a little bit spaceshipy. They're, like when the wheel's a certain size, the front wheel's a certain size, it's kind of still cool. But then they got those 35-inch wheels that made it super fucking ridiculous. You know what I mean?
Right. Yep.
There was a certain point where it became a paint and a stereo competition. You know what I mean? The bikes can get to be so weird they're unrideable. I'm not a huge fan of motorcycles, even choppers, that you can look at and say that it's not a rideable motorcycle. You know what I mean?
Gotcha. Sure.
I love the idea of, even if it's a chopper or a bagger or a big wheel bagger, whatever it is, I love the idea of it being rideable.
Yeah.
I know there's motorcycles as art, right? And those are some shows like that. I think Michael Lichter did a motorcycles as art show, and not all those. I don't remember if his was a ride-in show or not, but there are some shows that you go to and you know the bikes aren't rideable.
Sure. Yeah.
Or they've never run. You can look at the motor and say this thing's never even been started. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And I'm just not a fan of that. That's where I like the bike shows where they're not. There's no trophy involved because it's so subjective. You know what I mean? You and I could look at I've been to shows where I look at like a super clean FXR and I think it's the fucking coolest thing there, and somebody else goes over to that custom chopper with all the handmade parts and they think it's cool, and I think it's stupid. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
that's where I think that people's tastes differ. When I see my motorcycle, I see this piece of machinery that brings me adventure or brings me on an adventure.
Sure.
And so a motorcycle that's not rideable to me seems weird. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It seems out of place. Even a bar hopper chopper makes sense to me because at least you're bringing it, you're doing that bar hopping or that whatever and showing it off to your buddies, and, you walk in with your swinging dick over your shoulder. Right? Like I get that.
Yeah.
But it's just that, that part of it. So for me, it would be, a destination. It would be, I like events that are low key. I see some of the wild shit that goes on at Sturgis, like at Camp Zero, and I don't know, maybe I'm too old. I don't know what it is, but
sure.
that would have appealed to me when I was 25. But like there were some, I don't know if you saw, there's a couple videos at Camp Zero, and somebody had a Roman candle, and they were shooting the blast of the Roman candle, and the other guys were trying to hit it with like a wiffle ball bat.
Jesus. No alcohol was consumed in that video.
No, none whatsoever. None whatsoever. Now, and again, that's why it's called Camp Zero, right? There's zero rules there. There's zero law. There's it's do whatever you want to do. They jump bikes over bonfires and they do crazy shit there all the time. I mean, I get it. That's why it's Camp Zero, right? But
Sure.
But I think that different things appeal to me different. What maybe appealed to me when I was 30 or 25 maybe doesn't appeal to me now at 50. I like different things. I like the riding part of motorcycling more than anything, and I know I have friends that like the wrenching part of motorcycling more than anything. You know
Sure.
what I mean? So I think it just depends on the person. But Mama Tried has been my best event because it's low key, but you can still the nights are still crazy there. You can still find people doing burnouts on bars.
Oh yeah, man! You're either going to end up at Elwood's or Iron Horse.
Yeah.
And there's going to be a burnout on a bar, in the bar, on the bar, on the front patio, whatever. And that's one of my many favorite things about Mama Tried is you go to Elwood's or wherever afterwards on a Friday or Saturday night, whatever, and you can walk up and talk to Jeff Holt, or you can go talk to whoever, any of these guys, if John Jessup's there, all these people are approachable for the most part. At least I haven't ran across anyone that isn't approachable. That everyone's been incredibly nice and will sit there and talk to you for as much time as they can, and I appreciate that. And that's the nice thing about one of the nice things about Mama Tried, and would be something that I would want if I were to put together a bike show / rally or whatever. I would do something probably what I would envision is similar to Born Free Texas. Have an option to camp there. Obviously, try to ideally have some place that's not far from hotels if people don't want to do that. I would have a bike show, but with multiple categories. I would have a category for a bike show bike, like that you can't ride, whatever, fine. But everything else would be expected to be able to be rideable and most clapped out. I would have fun with it, have some fun categories.
Sure.
Most clapped out, best FXR, best Dyna, best performance bagger, whatever.
Right.
And I would have some live music, and I would definitely have I would try to have some kind of art show with it as well, I think. I don't know what that would exactly look like, but something else. And then have rides throughout the day, maybe 1 or 2 rides throughout the day on Friday and Saturday. So obviously it would be a destination somewhere where there's some cool riding. I'm partial to East Tennessee, I would say that, or Western North Carolina, but wherever it might be, somewhere that's got some great roads that aren't straight and flat.
Sure.
That would be mine, and I would do it in the fall time.
Sure.
Where leaves are changing and hopefully it's cooler and not like hogs and frogs in July where you're sweating your ass off.
Right.
So
I think there's some other things too, like I think it's interesting, people feel differently about different events, and I would agree with you. The Daytona doesn't have a lot of appeal to me, like the actual rally itself.
yeah.
But riding in Florida has a ton of appeal to me.
Yeah.
I would really like to ride the coastline of Florida because if you've ever been there, there's a lot of these like coastal bridges that are way off the water. There's a lot of intercoastal highways. I'd love to go all the way to Key West on a bike, right? There's whatever. There's a one point going down to Key West where it's like 14 miles and all it is ocean on both sides of you.
Yep.
To me, I don't know that I can think of anything cooler than that.
That would be pretty
You know
cool.
what I mean?
Yeah.
I'd love to ride the California coastline because of that because it changes so much during there. But as far as that part of it goes, there's some riding in Florida that appeals to me beyond the idea of the rally itself. Like, have you been to Florida?
Many times.
Okay. So one of the things that I think that people take for granted, and one of the things I love about Florida is I love the smell. I love the smell of Florida. So
you haven't been to Panama City during spring break. That's what I just heard.
No. I actually went to Daytona last year. We stayed in Daytona last year after,
Okay.
like around Easter, and I really liked it there. I liked
Did
it a
you?
lot. Yeah. We used to go to so it's different. Like if you go to the west coast of Florida, you get to see the sunset on the ocean every day.
Mm-hmm.
The east coast, it's the sunrise. The west coast
Well.
and the Gulf side is warmer water.
White sandy beaches too.
Yeah.
I mean, it's completely different.
Yeah. So, but what I mean by the smell of Florida is this, and this is something that's unique. So, I spent a lot of time in Southern California as a kid and used to go to the beach every Sunday, and you'd know when you were getting close to the beach because of the smell. You
Sure.
can smell the sea breeze. You can smell that ocean smell in the air. There's large sections of Florida that you can smell that all the time. You know what I mean? You get that, you kind of get that feeling. And I think Florida's like super unique because there's all these little kind of like you can go to one part of Florida and you can find the most redneck people that you're going to find in the whole fucking country.
Yep.
I mean, people that barely, I mean, their French Southern dialect is so thick that you can barely understand a word that's coming out of their mouth, but they're speaking English. You know what I mean? You can find that in Florida, and then you can find, then you can go to a community not too far away from that and find that, the Billionaires Boy Club and people that are running around with their deck shoes on and their giant yachts and giant fishing boats. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And those people all exist in the same area. You can find a place where the shuttle takes off, and then you can find a place where there's a giant motorcycle festival, right? I think
Yep.
it's just a unique amalgamation, and I think we're always drawn to or attracted to the place that we're not living.
I am not attracted to Florida. fuck that. There's no way in hell. I mean, sorry, bud, but there's absolutely no way. I've spent a lot of time in Florida over the years. I mean, it was a pretty short drive from East Tennessee to get to the East Coast, and even down to Florida is not that bad. Obviously, a lot closer than where you live. But I'd say I've been to Daytona once, and I couldn't stand it. I mean, it was trashy. It was dirty. Anywhere you can drive on the beach, I'm not a fan of. Couldn't do it. Like I don't want to smell exhaust fumes while I'm laying on the beach.
Sure.
It's not my thing. I think for me, if I'm going to the beach, and I'm going to be on the Atlantic coast, I'm going to North or South Carolina, or maybe even to Georgia, like Savannah or something like that.
Sure.
Tybee Island or whatever.
Sure.
Florida I'm just not a fan of Florida. Like it's just simple as that. I'm just that's not my jam. I
Sure.
mean, it was fun, and it was fun when I was younger and we were going to Panama City, but that's not even a fair comparison. So,
Right.
But yeah, if I'm riding to the beach, the Carolinas, even up into Virginia, definitely like you, I want to ride the Pacific Coast Highway up California. That'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
That'd be really cool.
Yeah, but I think this time of year too. If you've been to a big event like Sturgis and you see everybody going, you're on social media, like we kind of said in the beginning, there's definitely like a FOMO factor, right? Like I've been feeling it the last few days, and I said that to Bob. I said when I saw him last night, I said I don't know about you, man, but I've been feeling some FOMO, and he was like, yeah, me too. I said it feels weird not being around kind of all of the things right now. And he kind of agreed, because the beauty about Sturgis is this, and this is what I learned after I shot my mouth off and then I went out there. You can make Sturgis be the rally that you want it to be, which is the beauty of it. You can go out there and party, or you can go out there and not drink at all. You can go out there and ride, or you can go out there and park your bike and not ride at all. You can make it what you want it to be, and that's a beautiful thing from that perspective. And it's all of the things about motorcycling that you love and all of the things that you don't love, all in the same place at the same time.
Yep.
So that's the really cool part about that.
Yeah, I think you running that in any rally, right? There's going to be stuff you love, and there's going to be shit you hate, regardless. I mean, it's kind of like being in a bar or a group of people. There's always an asshole. There's always going to be something you don't like or somebody you don't like, right? So same thing, and Yeah, I think it's a great point that may be lost on some people at times. Is like you can go to Daytona if you haven't been, check it out. Go to the bike week, and maybe you'll enjoy it. Maybe you won't, but make it your own. Maybe it's not even doing any of the events, like you said. There's rides that appeal to you, and riding the coastline. Then just go do that. Gives you an excuse to go down there.
Yep.
So
yeah, and one of the things I said to a lot of people is that okay, I've heard it before. Well, I'm not a rally person. I don't like all the people. I don't. Awesome. I think that is a legitimate feeling that people have, and this is what I would say to all those people. Then go to South Dakota and ride, because that area of the country, there's a reason why the event has lasted 85 years. And it's not because you can go anywhere where there's a group of people, a group of bikers drinking beer, right? You can find that anywhere, right? Yeah. You can find a girl in short jean shorts and a tube top serving beer in any bar in the Midwest of the country to bikers, right?
Oh yeah.
If that's your jam. But there are a few spots in the United States that the riding is all good in a very condensed area, and that's one of the places. I mean, go to Badlands National Park. It's like riding on the surface of the moon. It's like nothing you'll ever see in this country. I mean, so there's a lot of things, and I think the other thing you find out is that if you go to the rally a few times, you make quote unquote rally friends. And then you're looking forward, and I think that's what you see a lot on Instagram, right? You see a lot of people going to see their rally friends, people that are friends from all over the country that go and see their friends all hanging out in one spot at one time.
Yeah.
And some people go there and just go real hard for 3 days and then go home. And that's their Sturgis.
Good for them, right? Good for
them.
Yeah.
I mean, that's their Sturgis. They go hard for 3 or 4 days, and then they're, drinking water, and, they're on that 2-day hangover while they're drinking water on the way home.
Yeah. Enjoy that liquid IV. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
there's a rally we didn't talk about or mention, Arizona Bike Week. That's a big
holy
one.
shit. Yeah. We didn't even talk about that at all. Yeah.
Yeah. It's funny. I've heard, and again, this is just hearing from different people. There's so many people like, it's not all that great. But from my understanding, the folks that really started Arizona Bike Week, they've kind of gotten big in their britches. And so there's kind of been I think Cruci Originals and those folks are doing something different at the same time. And they can't call it Arizona Bike Week. They call it something else. But it's supposed to be a lot of fun. So I don't know. That'd be pretty neat to check out one of these days as well.
Yeah, I think it's really what I think is really funny is that every year, if you follow social media at all, every year you kind of get a lot of the same stuff coming out of Sturgis. Then you get some similar stuff coming out of Daytona. You don't get a lot of stuff coming out of Arizona Bike Week.
No.
You know what I mean? You really don't. Arizona Bike Week, from my understanding, is starting to feel like a large vendor show.
Yes.
And I think the rally feel of it has gone away. I think since, quote unquote big wheel baggers aren't as popular anymore, and Arizona was kind of the mecca of the big wheel baggers for a hot minute, I think that has cooled down. You know what I mean? So I think that has become a different thing out there. So
yeah, I think I'd be interested to see what Cruci and those guys do with it, and Shifter Crew and some of them I think are helping with them to reposition that and kind of do their own thing during the same time and try to, make it more of a, I guess maybe a modern day feel, not a vendor show, so to say. So It'll be interesting to see how that evolves.
Right. And I think the other thing too is that everybody feels a little bit differently about it, but I think that everybody should go to a stunt show at some point in time, because I think what those stunt riders can do on these big V-twin motorcycles is amazing.
Amazing.
Now, the flip side of that is this. I've seen 2 stunt shows. I'm not going to go out of my way to see a stunt show. So at least not anymore. I've seen them. I think they're cool, but there's like only so many burnouts and rolling burnouts and, like wheelies and, 12 o'clocks and toe touches. And there's only so many of those things I can watch that then they just kind of, it's like, okay.
You busted out your taillight again.
Well, to me, like, that it's super cool, and these guys are really good riders.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they are really good riders, right? But again, I don't know that style of riding has no appeal to me. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Like, I don't look at. I mean, I've never looked at a Dyna and thought, man, I want to rip a wheelie on that motherfucker so bad. Like,
Sorry,
I've never.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I haven't ever looked at the bike like that. But I have looked at different motorcycles and thought, I wonder what it would be like to take your cross country trip on a Sportster, or on a Dyna, or on a Chopper, or on a.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
that's my jam. That's what I like to do.
Yeah.
So.
Well, no, I agree. I mean, I think that there's only so many stunts you can see until it becomes a little bit repetitive and a little redundant. But, if I'm walking by one and, at a show and they've got some people doing that, I'll stop and watch, but absolutely, those guys are, I'm impressed with the people that can do that. I mean, you got to be a strong individual to do that, especially if that's what you do for a living. These guys like the Concrete Cowboys or whatever, they do those stunt shows, and Cruisey Originals, a bunch of other people that do those, Sea Bear and all those guys. Man, you gotta be in good shape. I appreciate their dedication to that.
Yeah. So tell me this, Luke. So you're giving advice to a person who's never been to any rally at all, ever. What advice would you give to a rally or a show or an event virgin that, just, off the top of your head, what advice would you give to somebody that is apprehensive? Because I think if you ride a motorcycle, you should go to a rally, an event, or a show at some point in time in your life, because it's part of what our culture, our motorcycling culture, is about. And I think that if we want these things to exist, we have to support them, right?
Yeah.
So what advice would you give to somebody who's never been to an event or a rally or a show, and they're talking about going to one, but they're apprehensive?
Find 2 or 3 friends at a minimum to go with you. Don't go by yourself. You're going to have an awful time probably. And if you are any kind of introvert, don't go by yourself. That's the worst thing you could ever do.
Correct.
Do that. Talk to people that have been to that rally or that show before. Ask them what they liked and what they didn't like. And if there's anything that they wish they had done differently, or parts of it they missed they wish they'd seen. And then figure out the schedule of events. If it's homecoming, if it's Sturgis, if it's whatever, because there's going to be different shows, there's going to be this, that, and the other. What do you want to see and what's feasible? If you need to get to here and you want to ride here, so you got to do some planning and going into it as well. Once you talk to other people and looked at the schedule of events, and figure out if you want to do some rides, if you're riding there, then figure out what's feasible and kind of loosely plan out your day, with the understanding that you don't have to, you make it what you want and what you want to get out of it, but you don't have to go by that schedule. It's not hard and fast. So that's what I would suggest. And if you're staying in a hotel, book that sumbitch as soon as possible, because it's probably going to get sold out and be really expensive the longer you wait.
I think that's great advice, and I think that is an absolutely great place to end, to cut the sucker off. I think that sums it up. I loved it. The number one thing is, I think, find some people to go with, so that you can that at the very minimum, you have that comfort level of a couple people that you can talk to. You don't feel pressure to make new friends, that kind of stuff. That way you can that starts to evolve, right?
Yeah.
The more you go to that thing, and the more you meet people, and the more whatever. So I love it.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't have gone to Mama Tried by myself this year. I could only go by myself, and I was more willing to do that because I knew I was going to know people there. And if it wasn't for that, I probably wouldn't have gone. Not because I'm an introvert, but it's something like that. Especially if it's your first time, share that with people and you're comfortable with. That'll go a long way.
Yep. Agreed. Love it.
All right, guys.
Well, that wraps it up, man. Let's close it out for us today, Luke.
All right, guys. Well, a quick shout out to Shifter Crew sporting their shirt today. Great shirt. On the back, it's got a bagger. It says, so many performance baggers, so little performance. Love the shirt. Thanks for putting that out. But if we appreciate everyone listening. Find us on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, all the places. Like, subscribe, tell your mama, tell your daddy, tell all your friends to do so. Join our Discord so you can talk to us and all our other patrons that are enjoying the show. A lot of good conversation on there. And if you are so kind, feel free to join our Patreon. We have 2 levels there, $5 and $10 a month. If you enter the $10 a month level, which is Did We Just Become Best Friends, is what that's called, you will be entered into a quarterly drawing for some free merch. And we do a monthly virtual call with everybody and spend some time chatting with everyone, which we just had this week, this past week, the first one, and was great. Had a lot of fun, and Bob giving me shit about my check engine line. It was great. So really appreciate everyone joining on the call, and love you guys and appreciate the support, and we'll see you next week.
Yes, we are out.
Out.